Let me just throw this out on the table. I look at what happened there beginning last Friday. President Karzai, it seems to me, is the one who's at fault.
Bingo.
It was his incitement of the Afghan people that led to this horrendous destruction of human life. Am I right about that?
You're right about that. I think he is a politician. He's a weak politician, and he'll use anything as a pretext to keep the United States and NATO, his allies, and the people who've put him in power, blackmailed.
Yes.
He is blackmailing.
He's an extortionist.
Oh, explain how that is and why it inures to his benefit to incite these riots, taking advantage of the only power that's kept him there, the United States.
Well, precisely because he knows that the United States is slowly but surely going to be pulling out of Afghanistan as of this summer. And Karzai is interested, as he always has been, only in self-preservation, not in the good of his people. Therefore, he is now currying favor with the extremist elements in Afghanistan in the hope, perhaps vain hope, that they will preserve his life, never mind how many other people get killed.
Let me put one fact out on the table that the viewers may not be aware of. The Koran burning took place several weeks ago, disappeared into the ether. Nobody wrote about it. Nobody paid attention. It was then President Karzai who Thursday in Afghanistan gave a speech, and then the imams in Friday prayers gave the talks that led to this craziness.
This script is so familiar. The cartoon crisis in Denmark, the cartoons were drawn in, I think, September of 2005. There was a crisis in 2006, February. Despots at the time needed it, and there was an imam who went to them and took a very local Danish issue and made it into an international crisis. In a democracy like the United States of America, you are going to find things that you don't agree with. And what these despots, when we're talking about Karzai now, he's going to find so many things that Americans do to use as a pretext.
And I'm just going to jump off of that point that Ayaan makes because, you know, as we get closer to the summer 2011 start of the pullout, it'll take a while, but that's the start. You can rest assured that precisely because Karzai is malicious, he is mendacious, and he is corrupt, he is going to be using more and more such opportunities. This is only the beginning, Elliot. We have not seen the last.
But then let me ask this question. The whole notion, the whole strategy that we've been hearing is that we are going to win the hearts and minds of the Afghan people. That somehow, after 9.5 years, we, unlike the Romans, the Soviets, every other empire that has waded into the Afghan mire, somehow we will capture the hearts and minds, and they will embrace our sensibility about pluralism, tolerance, etc. Then you see an event like this. Does this tell you we have made absolutely no progress, or am I overinterpreting this?
I think that the strategy has been too ambiguous to begin with. There was this whole notion, we'll only get there, we'll get rid of Al-Qaeda, and then what? And then there is a debate in the United States that's ongoing. Do we stay and start a nation building, which is a nation building program, which is something that is going to take many years, maybe even a generation.
Or five
generations, or 100 years, like McCain said once during the elections. But then there is another strategy, which is we're going to get out as soon as possible. If that is the idea, then no, we'll never change hearts and minds. No, we're not going to change Afghanistan. The Afghanis will change it. And there's just going to be no connection between what happens here and what happens there.
You know, I think that the Obama administration has been very weak-kneed over all of this. They are in thrall, somehow, some reason, of Karzai, maybe because they believe that there's just no better option out there, which is very sad if that's the case. But I think that at this point, Obama needs to man up, sorry to, you know, bring back that phrase into the vernacular, and actually openly call for Karzai to make a speech to his own people, emphasizing that the U.S. government has indeed condemned this Quran burning. It was Karzai who said to the U.S. government, you denounce the Quran burning. That's exactly what Obama has done more than once. Now it's time for some reciprocity.
Okay, so
listen, I know that that's not the way diplomacy works, but it has to be done.
Well, it could be the way diplomacy works if somebody sat down with Karzai and said, enough, game over, and actually, as you said, used different phrase, showed some backbone. In other words, if somebody sat down with Karzai and said, we will not support you any longer unless you clarify to the Afghan people that we have condemned this, but nonetheless, First Amendment, that is a piece of our culture, and we will not back off from that.
It's something for which young Muslims are rising up because they want something like that too.
Would Karzai ever do that?
I don't think Karzai is going to do that, and I don't think we should negotiate with Karzai. I think Karzai should be removed from power.
And by the way, I didn't say negotiate, I said demand. Otherwise,
Irshad and Ayaan, stay right there. We'll continue this.